We shall not pretend to any understanding of the bond between dragon and dragon rider. Wiser heads have pondered the mystery for centuries. We do know, however, that dragons are not horses to be ridden by any man who throws a saddle on their back. From the writings of Archmaester Gildain. In Season 8 of Game of Thrones, Jon Snow finally became a dragon rider, something fans have speculated will happen in one of the upcoming novels. His mount was Rhaegal, the green and bronze dragon, the one named after his father Rhaegar. It's Jon's Targaryen blood, the blood of old Valyria, that gives him the ability to be a dragon rider. I know some don't believe you need Valyrian blood to ride a dragon, but we're not going to argue that here. In this video, I want to talk about Jon's bond with Rhaegal, or lack thereof, I should say, because it seems that even though Jon rode him a few times, dragon and rider had no meaningful connection to speak of, which was a huge problem. Yes, I quite often defend Dan and David and the later seasons of Game of Thrones, but I still have my fair share of problems. So let's talk about one of those problems, Jon's bond with Rhaegal. Learning a little bit of dragon lore is essential to understanding some aspects of House of the Dragon, which is going to feature a lot of dragon riding. Yes, including saddles. No worries if you haven't read Fire and Blood, this video will feature no spoilers for that book. Let's get into it. When a dragon accepts a rider, no other person can attempt to ride that dragon. A rider cannot have more than 2 dragons at once. As the Maester said, they're not like horses where a rider can have remounts. You get one and that's it. Nor can a dragon have more than 2 riders at the same time. To be more specific, a rider can have a passenger on their mount, but Rider A and Rider B can't share one dragon. A Valyrian household with multiple members and one dragon means only one person in that house owns that dragon. It's not like a house where everyone gets to share the minivan, and when mom says don't take the car out, you don't take the car out. Which means when Jon bonds with Rhaegal, that becomes his dragon, not Dany's. This is significant because where Jon goes, Rhaegal should go too. That didn't happen on the show.
You're not gonna ride the dragon south?
Just a horse. Rhaegal needs to heal. He doesn't need me weighing him down.
Rhaegal seems to still have some sort of connection or bond with Daenerys. If you've only watched the show, this is not likely to bother you. The show did not explore much of dragon riding lore, so it's not an obvious error to have Rhaegal still be with Daenerys. In the books, Daenerys has a very unique and interesting connection with her dragons, having hatched them and nursed them herself. We know of no other Valyrian person doing this. But that does not stop Drogon from trying to kill her. And Viserion and Rhaegal, now free from the dragon pit, show no interest in trying to locate their lost mother. On the show, once they were free, they instantly gravitated towards her. On the show, Rhaegal was still bonded with Daenerys when he should have been with Jon. If Jon bonded with Rhaegal as they should have, things should have gone something like this. Daenerys is preparing to fly to Dragonstone, but Rhaegal won't come. He ignores her commands and instead defers to Jon. This would mean Daenerys letting Jon ride one of her dragons in a spur-of-the-moment decision led to her losing another one of her children. Rhaegal did not have to die for Daenerys to lose him. So Dany flies to Dragonstone with only Drogon, and that ridiculous she forgot about the Iron Fleet moment doesn't happen the way that it does, because Rhaegal is still in the north. Dany can still be attacked, Missandei can still be captured, everything can play out as it did, but Rhaegal doesn't have to die in that moment. Dany simply loses him to someone she sees as a threat to her throne. Jon bonding with Rhaegal on a deeper level makes for a potential dramatic conflict. How would Dany react to this? I can see her being accepting, though apprehensive in the beginning, but as time goes on, after losing Viserion, Jorah, Missandei, and when the conspiracy against her begins, when she realizes she has to contend with not just another Targaryen, but a Targaryen dragon rider, that can only further her paranoia. And if it's necessary for Rhaegal to die, that can still happen as well. The dragons weren't thriving in the north, and Rhaegal was terribly wounded in the Long Night. What if Rhaegal's health continues to decline because he's now bonded with Jon and living in the north? I know the plan was to march south, but what if they don't move fast enough? What if Rhaegal dies as a result? So when Jon finally reaches Dragonstone, he has to bring her the news that the dragon died in his possession. Will Daenerys accept that he died of natural causes, or will she suspect foul play? Another thing that happens when a rider bonds with their dragon is that the dragon shares their rider's emotions about certain things. There are interviews with the House of the Dragon cast where they talk about this. So when Jon's feelings about Daenerys changes, so would Rhaegal's. If Dany tried to pet him, for example, he would shy away, wary of the affection. Daenerys being rejected by one of her dragons, one of her children, would have messed with her mental health as well. Okay, so this almost became a fixing season 8 video, which was not what I intended. But Jon and Rhaegal bonding was a missed opportunity to enrich the story and the lore. It would have also been a way to establish valid conflict between Jon and Daenerys. Daenerys didn't know much about dragons, so it would have been easy to accept her handing off a dragon without knowing what it meant. Tyrion does know a lot of dragon lore, but there was never an opportunity for him to share his wealth of knowledge. Perhaps instead of all of those cock jokes, there could have been a scene where Tyrion shares his knowledge or some of it with Daenerys. And please, no sex position. We would have left that in season 1. One last thing about Jon and Rhaegal bonding is that Jon could have explored some of his Targaryen heritage. Jon became a dragon rider, one of the only 2 dragon riders in the world. He was like Aegon the Conqueror and Visenya and Rhaenys, you know, his ancestors. Jon had a whole brother and sister that he'll never know. Do I need for him to be sad about it? No, just show a little bit of curiosity. Or the opposite. What if Daenerys is trying to tell him stories of their history and Jon feels nothing? So in another way, she'll feel like he's rejecting her. Let me stop myself because I realize I'm going off script and I need to wrap this video up. If you like this one, then leave a like and a comment as well. And you should bond with the subscribe button. Turning on notifications is helpful and it's free. Let me know if you think Jon not bonding with Rhaegal was bad storytelling or was there just no room to include it. Thank you all for watching and I will see you all for the next one.